Hello, welcome back to today's Dashcam Diary of a Disabled with me, Chronically Happy. Right now I'm leaving the gas station. I have finished up my doctor appointments in Salem for the day. Now I'm headed back home. Just got myself a full tank of gas. I'm kind of torn right now with my emotions and feelings. The thing that I was most triggered about this morning wasn't so much to do with the VA. It had to do with another thing, which I didn't mention too much about. I mentioned more about my VA things that have been weighing really, really heavily, more so than anything. And this morning's last night trigger was something completely different, and I don't want to talk too much about it in depth because I'm trying to move on. I have come to terms with the scenario that happened with the trigger. I've reflected quickly upon it. I am a very quick-minded person. My ADHD is always wanting to help and problem solve. I love puzzles. That's why I love to put together puzzles. I love mysteries. I love trying to figure out who done it. I like to figure out why isn't something working properly. Why don't we do some things to rule out, possibilities of things that are going wrong, I am a problem solver. I absolutely love solving problems. And even when it comes to my own, sometimes I have to just let my feelings out. I need to cry it out, yell it out, vent it out, curse it out, whatever it may be. It usually involves a lot of crying though. I did a lot of crying in my first Dashcam video this morning. I ended up doing a live video on my Facebook instead of doing another Dashcam in between the first one and then the second one today. But what a huge difference. What a huge difference. Because I don't know what's going on exactly until I get home for sure. So I'm not trying to celebrate too soon. But I have a feeling, and I think I know, that my review of my medical record from the VA has gone through. And they have awarded me years of back pay. Because I looked at my bank account and there's an obscene large amount of money, and I have to figure out if this is a mistake. Like, why is there all this money in my account? Is it truly because they actually made a decision today instead of tomorrow, or is tomorrow the other half of the case that they're going to review? Maybe they did the review yesterday of the one thing that was part of my case, and maybe they're finishing up the rest of it today and tomorrow. I don't know, but whatever the case may be, they might have actually awarded it to me. And I could have swore they already gave me all the back pay that they could ever pay me for, but I don't know. I don't know. I had a great experience this afternoon in between my doctor appointments. So I didn't have 3 doctor appointments today. I had a doctor appointment with my endocrinologist this morning. We're upping my thyroid medication, so I just got to stop at the pharmacy and pick that up on the way home. We're upping my meds just to see if that does anything. I hope it does. I have had some slight positive changes since I started my thyroid medications, but not in the changes that we're supposed to see with thyroid medication. We're supposed to see increases in thyroid hormone and decreases in the TSH, which is part of the endocrine thyroid axis. It takes part of the pituitary gland, the hypothalamus, or the thalamus. I mix up the ones. We're going to have to do a Google search when I get home and talk about this stuff. just to make sure I'm right on track. But whatever the case is, I talked to my endocrinologist today about, well, now that I'm finally getting to know him, I've seen him a couple times now, I've agreed to be on medication, we're working on a plan, we're working together, we're building our professional and patient relationship quite well, and I actually like this doctor, so I don't mind seeing him. Oh my gosh, this car is going really fast. Woo-wee! There goes like 5 gallons of gas. You're supposed to get over when there's an on-ramp next to you. People don't obey traffic laws. There's my road rage for the day. And all it is straight facts about how to drive. And they didn't do what they were supposed to do. Buttheads. Anyways. So as I was saying, after my endocrinology appointment, so I asked him, I told him some concerns. I have some, on my maternal side, there's a lot of diabetes, and I asked him, is there anything else you treat besides thyroid? Because I wouldn't mind discussing a couple other tests to potentially be ran. It's been a while since I've looked into it. I feel like it wouldn't hurt to run these extra labs. Unfortunately, I would have to pay a whole bunch of lab co-pays if I had my clinic and from the endocrinologist order them. So you order them, and I'm going to have them done at my primary care physician's doctor's office, and I'm going to have my primary order them. So I talked to my primary today. He had absolutely no problem running those tests for me and put the diagnostic codes in and order them for me. Unfortunately, I couldn't do them today because they have to be done first thing in the morning when I wake up. So, the earlier the better. I have physical therapy from 7 to 8. I don't know if that's too long of a wait. I would like to see myself wake up, drive straight to the lab as soon as they open, get in line and get the labs done. That's an ideal situation to make sure we get the most accurate results. So I might not be doing that tomorrow, as much as I would love to, and just get it over with so I can get the answers to rule things out. It's really not a priority of mine. It's just some kind of extra, just as things, monitor some things that I haven't asked about in a long time, because I used to get the VA to run everything. I had the VA run all kinds of tests for me in the very beginning. I don't know how I convinced my doctor to do it, but I did a lot of process of elimination a long time ago. But now as I've gotten to 10 years older, and this is around the time in my maternal side's family's life that they start developing diabetes. And my cholesterol has been very close a couple times. My glucose has been kind of not ideal, but not completely bad either. So it's just, these are things that I just want to make sure to monitor once in a great moon. My swollen nose still hurts a little bit from that, so sunglasses kind of hurt still a little bit. But I couldn't help myself with my cherry necklace with my sunglasses. I should be having my bright red lipstick on too, but it's just too much, right? It's too much for me today. So in between appointments, I had nowhere to go, but thankfully I remembered I had a women's focus group meeting with the VA personnel that run certain programs within the VA at my VA hospital system. And there weren't that many people in the group, so there were maybe 3 or 4 people on the phone call. But I introduced myself and I explained my story. I talked about how I've been having problems lately. I talked about how I absolutely love community care. I absolutely love the VA system that I go to, the Walla Walla VA system, which is extended to Tri-Cities and Richland, with the women's clinic that I go to now. They work in conjunction with each other. So I wanted to really reiterate to the people that do need to know a little bit of feedback about how they're doing. A lot of veterans don't do surveys, including myself. I'm tired of doing surveys after every stinking appointment. I mean, unless I really have something to say, I'm not going to fill out a survey. There's still a survey I want to fill out for the ER I went to a week ago, and it's in my email box, and I'm still going to go fill out that survey and give them poor scores and talk about how angry I was about how I got. The doctor walked out of my room in the middle of discussing what we can and can't do for me. She straight up walked out of the room on me. She wasn't going to entertain talking to me anymore. She's like, I don't see it medically necessary. And she had nothing else to say, and she walked out. And so I didn't want to hold up that room any longer. I'm like, you know what, if you can't help me, I'm just going to leave, but I have to wait for my discharge paperwork. And I'm like, you know what, I'm going to go wait out in the waiting room. I don't want to hold up this bed, let you guys clean this room so the next person can get it, so you guys can keep on your regularly scheduled program and not make other people have to wait. I think it's ridiculous to wait for discharge paperwork in your room if you're not connected to any equipment or anything. I don't see any problem waiting in the waiting room, other than the nurse having to come out and try and find you. But I knew that they were looking for me when they came out with my dates of discharge paperwork. I didn't want to give them the time of day of waiting in that room because of the gaslighting I received from that doctor. It's usually always nurse practitioners and women nurse practitioners in particular that I have issues with. They completely just make me feel like I'm making crap up, and if I don't answer what they think they deem necessary, then they're going to make a split decision and be like, no, we're not doing anything for you. All I was asking for was a CT scan, and she found it not medically necessary. I went to the ER in my hometown right after that. Yeah, it took a little bit longer to get in, but you know what? He found it fine to do a CT scan on me, and he did it for me. So now I'm equipped for my ear, nose, throat doctor appointment tomorrow to have that CT scan ready for him. So they don't have to do it for me. I don't have to pay for it out of pocket with my Medicare. And that's all I was worried about, is saving money. And that's all I'm worried about, saving money with these labs with my endocrinologist. I had to pay a $35 copay to see him today. Yeah, it's raining like crazy outside. Sorry for the loud background noise of the rain on the windshield. Anyways, I'm almost to my pharmacy as well. I'm almost to my hometown. I'm completely unhappy with how I was treated until I got my CT scan that I needed, and then everything was fine. The only thing I was really concerned about is because I had a bad virus right before storing me. My dog hurt my nose and deviated my septum or broke it. One of the two. The CT scan didn't show any problems, which is great. It was good news because I didn't want to have any residual inflammation, gunk stuck up in my sinuses because my face hurt really bad. So it really is just my MCAS swelling and just swelling from the trauma of what happened to my nose, and wearing sunglasses preventing or making it swell more at times. So it is what it is, but all I'm trying to do is save money, and I'm not trying to take away from other people's emergency situations. Of course, I'm not going to be pissed off if somebody comes in by ambulance and has a way more traumatic injury than me. But the way things went last weekend was a complete shit show, and I had to go to the ER 3 times. Twice to the same one, and one time to the one where the doctor gaslit me. It just was bad timing on my part for that first time I tried to go. I should have known better than to try to go that night, but I was scared because my appointment was supposed to be the next day. Well, that actually ended up miraculously changing, so now it's this Friday versus last Friday, so there was honestly no need to hurry my CT scan, which is what I was trying to do, is to make sure I had all my ducks in a row and had the scan before my appointment. That's all I wanted to do. But what I didn't want to make the copay to make them do it in the office. I really didn't. You know, I got to do and use the system for how I know how to use it the best to my advantage to pay the least amount of money. And I know what I need to do and how to get it. It's just convincing doctors. And it has to be the right doctor to listen to me. Not all doctors are created equal. Not all of them are going to give me PTSD. And I have to be open-minded to, you know, trying to view it from a doctor's perspective. You know, they got to have medical necessity to be able to order it and have insurance want to cover it. Regardless, the VA is going to cover whatever they do for me. And so it shouldn't matter what my insurance is. It really does, though, and it does matter to the ER on what insurance I have, because they don't want to get in trouble and get caught with the bill and having to write it off, and be a waste of time for them ordering something that isn't going to be covered, and then their, you know, position is kind of getting screwed out of some money. I kind of get that, but they also overcharge like a mother trucker, so they shouldn't be charging this much money for a lot of the things that they do. That's just my opinion. And so that situation was just a shit show last weekend, and it kind of carried over into this week with dealing with the VA. I'm finding out, like, on Tuesday afternoon that I double booked myself for Wednesday, and that I wasn't going to have my labs ready for my endocrinologist to this morning because I double booked myself. I had my primary care doctor appointment at the same time I had my specialist appointment on Zoom, so I had to scramble and change my appointment times. Then I realized, oh, I needed that appointment time at 10 o'clock because I needed to have those labs done the day prior to my endo appointment. So I'm like, ugh, I messed that one up. But also I couldn't reschedule the other doctor specialist because she's so much harder to get into. So today is a total waste of time because I totally can't do any more phone calls. I can't get anything else accomplished. I hate having doctor appointments this late in the day because by the time I'm done, I can't get anything else done for the rest of the day. And my mind is racing with all the things I need to get done because I have new information. I went to new doctor appointments today. I got updated prescriptions. I got updated labs to do. There's so many things to try and be organized and try and do things in a timely manner and in an efficient manner, and make sure you have the most up-to-date information for your doctor before you go. I print out my paperwork for my doctor before I go to make sure that he has the information just in case it doesn't get sent over. I have my trends and my blood work, you know. I should have covered some of that up. But yeah, trending paperwork, he appreciates that I brought this in. I get compliments from staff from doctors' offices for being prepared the way I'm prepared. It makes me feel good about myself. It makes me feel like I know what I'm doing. It strengthens my patient professional doctor bond with the staff and with the doctor to have all of the paperwork that they need to see to continue treatment and know how to continue moving forward and what we need to do. They wish more patients could be more proactive in their own health care. But there's a fine line between knowing too much and being a know-it-all and trying to force your doctor into doing things that they don't know anything about, and then going in there tactfully with evidence and the reason why and diagnostic codes and that kind of stuff, and be like, look, this is this and this is this is my concern. Do you agree with me? Maybe they can either talk me out of it because it's not really a concern that I should be thinking about, so they can calm my worries that way, and they have before. And it's a big difference. Going into a doctor appointment with such high anxiety because either they're a new doctor and I don't know how they're going to treat me, like any ER doctor. I'm always anxious about the ER. I never know who I'm going to get, and I'm never going to know if they're going to do what I request them to do. But I do what I can, and I do what makes sense to me. So, I know it's super itchy right now. I was in a terrible mood yesterday. I was devastated. And then I was devastated last night. I got triggered by something completely innocent, and I kind of made a small deal out of it, but not a big deal out of it. But it in turn actually triggered somebody else today that was involved in the original incident months ago when I left the chat, and they made a comment in the chat today. Instead of addressing me separately, they brought it up in the chat, which everything in the chat didn't mention anything about him or his name. And for him to make the comment, FFS, this needs to end. What needs to end? Everything has ended on my part. I'm over the situation. I resolved it. I talked it through with the people that I, had the situation with for this time. And I told them I apologized, it's a me problem, not a them problem, and that, I think they're a beautiful person, and I hope that they feel welcome. No drama here. It's just something that I'm continuing to work on to be a better person for myself. And they accepted that, and everybody in group should feel okay with that. But for somebody to respond that it had nothing to do about really this time around, it was just me having a reaction. And for him to tell me basically I'm not allowed to have a reaction or state my feelings, or if I am triggered, I'm not allowed to say that I'm triggered. I feel like I haven't said anything about it for a while. He messaged me out of the blue and told me, hey, I think you're doing better, blah, blah, blah. And now for him to make that statement in chat after I had a little bit of a, issue myself that I end up resolving with the people and being fine with, it's uncalled for. It's toxic behavior, and I don't know why he won't let it go. I've let it go. I'm going to always have problems with triggers, but I'm going to get better at responding to those triggers. And I feel like I did an excellent job this time compared to last time. And for him to shut down and try to not allow me to voice how I feel is not a very good, it's not a good look, dude. It's not a good look. And I hope somebody else can say something back to him, because I responded in the chat. I was like, what are you talking about? And he hasn't responded yet, so we'll see what happens, because as far as I'm concerned, everything's done and over with. Why he feels like it's still affecting him, I don't know. But obviously he has unresolved feelings about it, because if I mention anything, so it's like I get triggered by something, I say my feelings, and then he's triggered by my feelings about it. This is not a good cycle to have happen here. I need people that are going to be understanding and helpful. And I'm not saying take my side and accept, be like, shame on you. But I also don't want people to be put off by me, and, for me to be able to come back, take accountability, and be like, it's a me thing. I'm working on myself. I apologize. Let's just move forward. And I changed the topic to something else and started talking about other things. And then he tries to bring the conversation back to it. That FFS, this needs to end. On my end, it has. I'm just going to have residual triggers here and there, especially if I'm dealing with a lot of other external problems. I'm going to be very sensitive for certain things at certain times in my life, but not all the time. What matters is how you respond to the situation, and I felt like I responded a lot better, and I talked it out with one person instead of brought in the entire group on the entire thing like I did last time. I only said a couple things. I made it very minimal in group, and then I pulled one person aside and I had to explain how I felt. And she feels very empathetic for me, and she wants to understand, and I absolutely adore her for that. So I appreciate that, because that helped me get through this process, along with me therapying myself on my first dash cam this morning. And then the fact that I have some other good news that I don't know until I get home, until I log into the va.gov website, but I think they accepted it. And they gave me a lot of back pay. And if this back pay is true, oh my gosh, this is going to save my life. I'm going to be able to afford to fix my car. I'm going to be able to get what I need done. Guys, I might have won my case with the VA. And so I'm excited to go find out. And I'm just wasting time making this video and sitting outside the pharmacy, not getting my medication when they close within the next half hour. And I just needed to talk this out and process things a little bit further. If you guys could only see the difference in how I started the video this morning versus now and the end of the video this morning, I'm a whole other person. Look what happens when I take a medication that helps calm down my central nervous system that's on overdrive because of mast cell activation syndrome, that is cyclic with PTSD, and they both shut down my frontal lobe, and they both put me in a very unhealthy, toxic, negative cycle thought loop, until I can resolve how I can move forward. And I did that this morning. I resolved it. And I had to kind of like disassociate a little bit and think about it from other people's perspectives, look at the situation for what it was, use my logical part of my brain that was shut off when I was triggered. And once I was able to get through my trigger, calm down my central nervous system, I was able to now look back at the situation and be like, oh, I agree with everybody. It was a total overreaction on my part. And what's said is done, but I really didn't say much to anybody in the chat. It was all on the side, personal side conversations, and that was the appropriate way to handle it and not go off on the people that don't deserve it. And I didn't go off on my friend that didn't deserve it. It's just I had to defend myself to somebody and talk to somebody immediately about it to get me out of that triggered state. I have to talk it out, and I did that through my video. And It can be done. My nose is so itchy right now. But I love you all. Thank you so much for joining me. I love each and every one of you. Thank you for taking the time to get to know me and learn about PTSD, mast cell activation syndrome, Veterans Affairs, Veteran Evaluation Services. Thank you so much for taking the time to want to learn about me and my complications of what I deal with on a daily basis. Thank you very much. Thanks for the support. Peace out.